Well, that was an eventful Raw, was it not? We saw the inevitable and somewhat predictable return of CM Punk. But not only that, he not only returns, he becomes WWE Undisputed Champion. A decision that only could be successful, I think, in Punk's hometown. Had this been done in any other town, there's a good, but not guaranteed chance that this would have gotten a mixed reaction at best. They chose the right place to give the championship to Punk, if that's the place they want to go, if that's the path they want to go, and clearly it is. But I've come to a realization, and I might have mentioned this before, but it really was driven home last night watching Raw. A point that I've made in a few different ways over the last several months with TKO's decisions. And I've landed on 100% that anytime you look at a decision that creatively is frustrating, doesn't make a lot of sense from a logical perspective, all you need to do is step back and put on the lenses of making money. If you're TKO or if you're a fan, you need to use the lens of TKO to look at this through not wrestling logic, not respecting the heritage, the lineage of any championship or wrestler or industry, but rather what will make us the most money at any given time. The hell with anything else. That's how you need to look at wrestling, because there are reports now, and I don't know who's leaking this, maybe it's WWE themselves, that they looked at Sami Zayn as he's not a money player, is the phrase that's being thrown around. Money player. That's what's being said. And to an extent, I understand that, because Sami Zayn, like it or not, is not as big of a name as CM Punk is. In fact, he's not even close. That has nothing to do with his ability in the ring. His contributions to the business have been huge, although CM Punk, you could argue, has had a bigger impact. The number of years he's been in the business, he understands it. He has certainly earned his place. But it all comes down to money. TKO looked at this and said, you know what? We can't have a guy named Sami Zayn coming into our biggest event, second biggest event of the year, as champion. We can't have that. We need to get it on Punk. Whether it makes sense or not, we need to get it on Punk. And there's going to be fan backlash, and it's going to be interesting to see how this backlash ultimately is manifested, because if they want to go down the road of turning Sami back to a babyface, they've got it. If you've seen WWE's YouTube channel, or you can check it on X, I'm sure there's other outlets too, Sami Zayn, behind the scenes, went off on CM Punk. Cussed, seemed legitimate. He broke down. And I think those are the kinds of videos, those are the kinds of promos that don't seem like they're scripted, and it may not be, that are going to get you the most traction and can have the most impact. Because it doesn't look like it was supposed to be part of the show. It wasn't in a scripted promo segment in the middle of the ring. This could have a lasting impact on Sami's career for the better, I think. And again, if you want to turn him back to being a good guy, it's very easily done here. Not because of that heartfelt backstage promo, which I encourage you to go listen to, although that's part of it, but because there is a hell of a case to be made here in favor of Sami Zayn. He, after 20 years, finally reaches the top of the mountain. 10 tries it took him to reach the top. He gets there, becomes champion, and he holds it for 9 days. 9 days. Yes, the phrase is WWE, or TKO more specifically, did Sami dirty. And in a lot of ways they did. They took Sami Zayn, a guy that was beloved by the fans, but for a long time was never looked at as the one. The timing wasn't right. And they finally get around to giving him a chance. And what do? They turn around and just give it to Punk. Punk comes in after 3 months of just not being there, inexplicably earns a Undisputed Championship opportunity, not even World Championship. That's the key here. If you're looking for a reason to turn on Punk and like Sammy, or just be angry at TKO, what's the explanation for CM Punk coming back and getting a shot at a championship he's never held? Remember, he held the World Championship that he dropped to Roman Reigns in one of the best WrestleMania matches I've ever seen. But what has Punk done to earn a shot at the Undisputed Championship? Just based on his resume? That's not how it works. It's a what have you done lately for me business, like so many are. And with CM Punk, just because he's in Chicago doesn't mean that he's automatically entitled to a title shot. Now, again, as I opened the show with, they chose the right place with CM Punk's hometown, maximizing the reaction and mitigating the backlash. If they were going to do this, why would they give the belt to Sammy to begin with? Just so they could have Cody get attacked backstage by Gunther, and then maybe later down the line it's revealed that Punk was in cahoots with Gunther, and I'm not sure. You didn't even need to do that at all. But perhaps there's a bigger picture here, and that is Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk for the championship at SummerSlam. Now, I would insert Sami Zayn in this. He's deserving of it. You can't have a guy go that long, decades, finally get to the top, and then have his character go, well, best of luck to you. I'll be back sometime. No, you need to have Sammy in the picture. I understand Cody versus Punk is a bigger marquee matchup, which is why they took the belt off of Sammy. But if you're going to have the belt being taken off of Sammy, did you really need to have him lose it 9 days after instead of maybe at SummerSlam, which would have been a little bit more respectable? Why did it have to be 9 days after? What's the game plan here? Again, looking at this through the lens of I want to make the most money, which is how everything is filtered through TKO's decision-making process, is how can I maximize the money in my pocket? Well, again, Cody going into SummerSlam, going to challenge for the championship, CM Punk going in as champion, WWE TKO, has decided that that is a more marquee, marketable matchup than having Sammy come in as champion. So it is a hell of a decision, a ballsy decision by WWE in a match that was good, really good. Yes, Punk still got it. Good to see him back, all that. But it is a head-scratching decision after 5 years. This is the shortest championship reign in 5 years. So this is nothing to sneeze at. It's a crazy decision. It's a decision that I don't even know if TKO cares about the backlash. Anytime you think they're going to care about logic or backlash from fans, again, put on your $ glasses and try to put yourself in their greedy shoes of F the fans, F everything, the hell with tradition. How can I make the most money off of this at this moment? That's how I looked at this. And that's how we're going to have to look at wrestling from now until we're told otherwise. Until somebody else buys it or they change their strategy or culture, which I don't see happening. This is how I see it. So, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us here on this 10-minute open on the WWE podcast. We are here multiple days a week. If we don't do a new show, we do publish our retro shows, some of the best of the old What If shows with other co-hosts that we used to have on the show. So kind of a cool dynamic, I think, of not just hearing me, but some former co-hosts from the show. And you can also go ad-free at patreon.com/WWE podcast. So let's get into Monday Night Raw. We'll start from the top, as we always do. And Again, the show, if you didn't already know, because I'm sure you were very confused, was airing from Chicago. A great city, by the way, as far as just noise goes. I love the energy of Chicago is always just chef's kiss, usually. So it's from the Allstate Arena, and Michael Cole welcomed us and said that this was the 36th time that Raw would be held on the venue. And Cody Rhodes was standing backstage, and Zayn assumed Cody thought he would take the title from him, but that wouldn't happen. And Cody said that since Zayn seemed to know everything he was thinking, he confirmed that Zayn was right. Gunther then shows up, attacks Cody, powerbombs him through the table, and says, "You're welcome." Then he kicks a driver's door at Cody, who was bleeding, takes Cody out of the equation, and Gunther threatens Sami Zayn. First of all, good to see Gunther back in the picture where he belongs. You're going to do all these things with Gunther, have him beat John Cena in his final match. Do something with the dude. And this is where he belongs. So I don't know what impact he will have on this. You could honestly make a case at SummerSlam for a fatal four-way, maybe a fatal four-way elimination for the Undisputed Championship with Gunther, Sami, Punk, and Rhodes. You could really do that. In fact, I would argue that's hopefully where they land. Because if Cody's going after the championship, even though he was attacked by Gunther, you're not going to have him face Gunther in a non-title match over taking a shot at the championship. So, okay, so Seth Rollins then comes out, and he said, "God, I love this building." And the fans chanted for CM Punk, and Rollins told him to get it out of their system. He said he didn't care about that guy right now. Which is, yeah, sure. When the fans booed, Rollins said it was just not his business right now. And he said his business is continuing to own Roman Reigns. And that's when an OTC chant broke out. And bad news is Roman is not here tonight, which is honestly really crazy. It's crazy that you have Roman Reigns not in one of your biggest markets. I mean, Chicago is, in terms of United States market, it's in the top 5, easy. So the fans booed, and they should. And Rollins said he didn't like it either. And Rollins said that from day one, Reigns has been the chosen one, and said nobody wants to hold Reigns accountable. And he said the Shield debuted as a trio. He said it was made abundantly clear that Reigns was the chosen one. Rollins said that those were his dreams, to be the biggest star in the industry. And he recalled Reigns saying that he worked 10 times less than him, yet made 10 times more. Okay, well, that's a flex on Reigns. Good for him. Wouldn't you want to work less and make more? See, he thinks somehow that that's a flex for him, but that shows you're doing something wrong and he's doing something right. If he's getting paid a lot more to do a lot less, then when he does something, it's clearly worth a lot more than when you do something. See how that works? Basic economics. All right, anyway. Nobody, again, simple, just kind of peel back the onion one layer and destroy the logic of that insult. But he said the decisions he made after were in direct response to everything being handed to someone who didn't deserve it. And LA Knight came out, interrupted Rollins, and he said that he wasn't going to stand by for 2 weeks straight while Rollins and Reigns bored everyone with the same old crap. He said it was a good cheat code for Rollins to come out and talk about how great he and Reigns were to get a title shot. He said he missed when you had to earn one. And he said that Rollins is an Iron Man. He said that Seth had so many shots over the years that he'll never catch up with him. He said that when the business peaked, it wasn't Rollins or Reigns. He said he would give Cody credit, but he also recalled his own success until the bloodline cut him off. And the same thing happened when he ran into the Vision. And he stumbled over his words pretty badly during this promo at one point, but he had a lot of energy, which I would tell him to slow the fuck down. I can't cut a promo. I'm not pretending I can, but I know when I see something that can be fixed. And LA Knight speaks like he wrestles. And I mean that in mostly complimentary terms, because LA Knight is mostly good in the ring, except when he slips on the ropes. And he'll go through these spurts of slipping on the ropes a lot in a short period of time, and then he doesn't do it for a while. Same thing with his promos. Mostly good, but then he'll trip up, and when he trips up, it's bad, and it's often. So it's kind of the same thing. He has the same dynamic going on, but his energy, it's intense, and it was almost too intense. So the way you fix that is bring it down, slow down. The faster you go in your promo, the higher risk you run of stumbling over your words. Hell, I run a podcast. I stumble over my words all the time, mostly because I do this at night and I've got nothing left in my brain. And that's, I mean, I'm on fumes by the time I record this, but anyway. All right. So, we had Rollins say, "You done?" And Rollins said he doesn't like Knight, but he respects him. And he said that Knight is the hard work, hustle, and grind he just described. And that Rollins said Knight's time will come, but he can't worry about him because he has to go to SummerSlam to take back a title he never lost. I like how he's bringing that up. I like how Rollins is reminding us that he didn't lose the championship, because I kind of have forgotten about that. But it's an important point. It's not a throwaway footnote. It's something that he should continue to hammer home. Dropping a championship but not losing it due to injury or some other unforeseen circumstance is important for a champion, especially a babyface champion. So I hope he continues to bring that up. Rollins said once he regains the championship, Knight can step up to him. And that was it. Jimmy Uso then attacks Rollins with a super kick. And that was that. Because Knight cannot stop facing the Usos or any version of the bloodline. It's been years. He is an indentured servant to the bloodline story. So, okay. Some of this analysis here that I'm reading says a rough segment for Rollins. He clearly put a lot of thought into his promo. I like a lot of what he said, but he lost the crowd when he took jabs at hometown hero Punk and Roman. Knight's comments about Reigns and Rollins being the same old crap clearly resonated with the fans. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't think it was as rough for Rollins as some thought. Honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, last week with Roman and Seth was money. This week with just Rollins, yeah, I guess in comparison it wasn't great, but to me didn't hurt anything. Okay, the first match we get, the Street Profits. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins take on Braun Breaker and Austin Theory for the World Tag Team titles. I really didn't think we were going to get a change here. We don't often see title changes when it's the first match of the night. So this was very surprising and shorter than I would have liked in 8 minutes and 45 seconds with Braun Breaker and Austin Theory winning. But how they won is the story, of course. How one wins or loses is always and forever the story in pro wrestling. So how did the Vision win? Well, none other than Maxine Dupree. Yes, Maxine Dupree. Low blows Dawkins, who then gets pinned by Theory. New World Tag Team Champions. Now, before we get to the Vision and Maxine, what was the purpose of having the tag team championships on Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins? What did they even do as champions? Did anyone even remember they were champions? That was the most meaningless tag team championship run I've seen in a long time. Then, not that they were champions long, but that also makes it worse. So the Street Profits, again, another meaningless championship run. The real story, of course, is not them losing. It's Maxine Dupree joining the Vision. And I have to say, it's weird, but I kind of like it. Maxine Dupree, who refused to accept Chad Gable's apology, has something significant to do, and she showed she can speak. She had a hell of a promo a couple of weeks ago talking about Chad Gable. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but I'm willing to give it a chance. I think this could work out. Not just for Maxine, but for Austin Theory. They kind of are hitting each other at the right time. Austin Theory has got zero momentum. Zero. Maxine needed a boost. And we don't have any love stories going on in WWE. This works. Let's see what they do. Let's let it breathe. Maxine got the old black outfit out. She curled her hair. That kind of brought me back, those of you old enough to remember, to Stephanie McMahon's heel turn, her original heel turn. that took place, I think, at Armageddon 2000, when Triple H took on Vince McMahon. And Stephanie was going in to save her dad when ultimately she turned on him. And that night she had something different about her. I remember she wore a pink top. I don't know. I remember that. And she had frizzy hair for the first time. So it was a bit of a foreshadowing of her actions. It brought me back freaking 26 years. But anyway, good for Maxine, good for Austin Theory, well played out. And now the follow-up. Let's see what they do. Let's make sure we get a damn promo. I want an explanation. What happened here? Who contacted who? Why? So it's a nice turn. So good stuff here. And again, the Street Profits were doing absolutely nothing as tag team champions. All right. So we got then Sol Ruca and Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. 10 minutes with Sol Ruca winning. And it happened because we had, Liv Morgan preventing Ruca from hitting the Soul Snatch. And then Io Sky had her music play. Morgan instructed Perez to cut her off, but Sky dove from the barricade onto Roxanne Perez rather. And then Io Sky put Morgan down with a horrible kick. I mean, look, I like Io Sky, but that kick was like 3 feet off. I got to call it out when it looks horrible. That was just a terrible kick. And then she hit a moonsault from the middle rope onto Morgan and Perez, and Ruca then hit a distracted Rodriguez with the Soul Snatcher and got the victory. So Sol Ruca retains the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Fine match. Io Sky and Liv Morgan continue to try to at least keep their tension at a high level and put their matchup in the minds of fans that are really more focused on Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. And now what are they doing with Gunther and Sammy and CM Punk's back? So we have to keep remembering that this matchup's happening. Io Sky and Liv Morgan, a match that, yes, we just saw. But if they're going to run it back, that's fine. I don't need a brand new match every time SummerSlam rolls around. They just need to execute well. And I have high expectations for Liv Morgan and Io because now this is, I don't know how many times they've met actually in their careers, but certainly many times. And this is now on the biggest stage that they've had one-on-one. And I expect a really good match. Do I expect Liv Morgan to win? I don't know. Probably not, but Io Sky at the same time, you can make a case that she hasn't really done a ton lately. She's in the minds of fans because she's so damn good in the ring. But she needs some mic time. I think that's what Liv and Io Sky need, especially Io. They need to talk to each other. I always seem to vie for the sit-down interview, but that can do wonders. The sit-down interview with Io Sky and Liv Morgan, I think, would be very beneficial to both women. So, continuing. Paul Heyman came in the ring. He said there's no way Obafemi would come out of the cell and that Brock would destroy him. And Heyman smiled and tossed the mic to end the promo. And that's when Obafemi comes out. And he said that Heyman loves to talk. And Heyman gave Oba credit for beating Brock at Mania and then recalled Lesnar evening the score by winning the rematch. And then Heyman shifted the focus to the cell, and he said that Lesnar was the UFC heavyweight champion. He said no one fights inside a cage like Lesnar, and recalled Lesnar beating Undertaker twice in Hell in a Cell matches. I love how he brought that up. And Heyman told Oba that Lesnar is the mountain he can't climb. Well, except for he already did. So not a good statement by Heyman. I mean, he already did. Heyman said only one man would leave SummerSlam with his reputation intact, and said that man is actually a beast, and his name is Brock Lesnar. Heyman called Oba the unbeatable one and then tossed the mic again. And Oba said he would beat Lesnar in front of his family, his wife, blah, 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 blah. He said, tell your client I'll see him in hell. And that was it. So Oba had a nice night on the microphone. I mean, you're going against one of the best of all time in Paul Heyman. Imagine if Paul Heyman could be a wrestler or was a wrestler. Oh, my goodness. He may be regarded as the greatest of all time if he could actually perform. If you could take his brain and his promo skills and throw him into a wrestler, I mean, there'd be nobody that could match him. Nobody. Beyond maybe one guy, and that's MJF. I continue to put MJF at the top of the pile of the best promo I've ever seen. MJF, to me, I know he's not a WWE guy, but I can't imagine the day he comes here. It's going to be just insane. And he will. Don't say, oh, he'll be AEW forever. No, he won't. He'll come to WWE. It's just a matter of time. But to me, MJF is the greatest promo of all time. Beyond Ric Flair, beyond Stone Cold, beyond Rock, beyond John Cena, beyond CM Punk, beyond Foley, anyone. And those are some great promos of guys I just listed. But MJF is just at another level. He doesn't stumble over his words. He's well thought out. His promos have a path. His word selection is awesome. He delivers it in a very believable fashion. I know MJF has nothing to do with my Raw review, but I just have to mention him because he came to my mind. Anyway, so a little bit of a hype, more hype for Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, which, I mean, I don't know what more you can really do. Okay. Ethan Page, Rusev, and Chad Gable, Ethan Page and Rusev taking on Chad Gable and Dragon Lee. And match goes 9 minutes with Ethan Page and Rusev winning. And they won after Rusev forced Lee to submit via the Accolade. Afterward, Rusev didn't release the hold. Gable came in the ring, grabbed Rusev from behind, but he was beat down. Joe Hendry came out to make the save, but he got beat down as well. And then everybody pulled Rusev off of Joe Hendry. And that was the end of the segment. So I actually have no problem with this, although it is very surprising where they've placed Joe Hendry on the roster thus far. Kind of in no man's land, doing concerts. He was brought in at a time where his gimmick is on the downslide. He's being put in the tag team division, or at least for the moment, kind of a makeshift tag team. He's on TV. That's a plus if you're a Joe Hendry fan. But it is a bit of a disappointment given where they could have placed him. Don't forget, he was in a matchup with Randy Orton at WrestleMania just a couple of years ago. Remember that? So, and don't forget Randy Orton, still lurking out there. Drew McIntyre, still lurking out there. I think there's a very good chance to see one or both at just before or just after SummerSlam. So we then have Jackie Redmond catching up with Jimmy Uso outside the arena and asks what message he was trying to send by attacking LA Knight. Yeah, because you always have to make sure you understand the message they're trying to send, as if 99.9% of them aren't just self-explanatory. I don't like you. You're talking shit about my family, which he even said on the mic. He said that. We don't need to know what message he's sending. Some things are just very intuitive, Jackie. More just WWE. So Jimmy spoke about how it was time for Big Jim to step up in the bloodline. And LA Knight was shown approaching Jay from behind, and Jacob popped up and took out Knight. So there, I mean, it's fine. Bailey, I'm just moving on because I'm just over Knight and the bloodline as a opponents. I don't need to see it anymore. But Bailey's promo then video aired, and she said that how about her respect for Lyra? It grew when she watched her go from being a fan to winning the women's Intercontinental title. Bailey said that Valkyria kept her level-headed and kept her or helped her bring out the best in herself every week. And she said she doesn't understand why she couldn't have an honest conversation. And she said she was giving her one chance to show she's not like everyone else by meeting her face to face next week. Well, wait a minute. What do you mean you're giving her a chance? The chance was, while you're friends with her, not to betray your trust. That's the chance. What does she have to... Like, that makes no sense. That's kind of cowardice. I don't want to hear that's empathy or kindness. That's stupidity. That's gullible. Imagine you have a friend, however many years, I don't care if it's a week, a month, a year, 20 years, 50 years, and they turn their back on you and they literally beat you down. Do you think you're going to say, well, I'm going to give them a chance. I just want to hear them out. This is your only chance, though. And then after that, I'm breaking up with you. Are you shitting me? This made Bayley look weak and stupid. Just as a matter of logic, which again, I know is a dirty word in wrestling, but it shouldn't be. Anybody, anytime says that you shouldn't put logic in wrestling storylines or think about it too hard, tells you that they haven't thought about the storyline too hard. It tells you they don't want you to think too hard about it because they haven't, which means the moment you just peel back one layer, you're going to see all the faults of logic and make them look stupid. Well, too bad. It's just a defense mechanism when people say that, because that tells you that, again, the storylines are weak. So, look, I like Bayley. I like Lyra's turn. I thought the promo that Lyra cut last week was memorable. The look, the delivery. I really enjoyed it, much more than I thought I would. Bayley's promo made her look soft. So, give her one more chance. Okay, but you better pinky promise you won't do that again. Get the fuck out of here. All right. So anyway, broadcast team then hyped Dallas next week, where Raw's going to be. Brock Lesnar is going to appear. There's going to be a 7-man gauntlet for a shot at the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam. That's great. EO versus Roxanne, and the World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns appears. So imagine sitting in Chicago and you see that graphic. Now, I know you got CM Punk winning the title in Chicago, and that's a good moment, cool moment. He's the hometown hero, but would you trade that for knowing that Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns are appearing? I don't know. That's one of those graphics that you sit there and you're thinking, son of a bitch, right? Man, because they saw that it was on the screen. Okay. We then have Pierce say that Aldis was on administrative leave, and Aldis said he secured a replacement for Cody in the main event, and CM Punk chant broke out, of course. Okay. Sami Zayn, CM Punk, WWE Championship match went, what's the timestamp on this? 20 minutes, as it should have. And Punk wins. I talked about this at the Open, but getting into a little more detail here. As far as the match itself went, really good. Two vets, 45, 50 years plus experience between the two of them. You knew it was going to be a really good match. It delivered. Some of the nice false finishes were there. Zayn going for the haluva kick. Punk countered with an exploder suplex. Punk went to the opposite corner, charged for his own haluva kick. Zayn cut him off with a GTS, Blue Thunder Bomb, near fall. That Blue Thunder Bomb, it has ended matches before, but very, very, very rarely. But it's always just a nice near fall. It could easily be a finish. Zayn then removed his wrist tape, headbutts Punk. Zayn told Punk that he's the champion now. Zayn went for a haluva kick, and of course we all know Punk hit his own, hit the GTS, 1, 2, 3. Punk's an 8-time world champion. So, Cole, in his infinite wisdom, and I don't mean that in a slight at all, said that this is the summer of Punk number 2. He said it was almost 15 years to the day that Punk won the WWE Championship, and he won it again in his hometown of Chicago. Punk got to his feet and celebrated and said it was almost 20 years to the day since Punk debuted in WWE, and Punk was shown with pyro and all the rest. Sami Zayn was dejected on the floor. And if you have not seen the backstage reaction that Sami Zayn had to Punk winning, it's a must see. I don't know. And I'm hopeful they do something with it. There's something of consequence that comes from that, but it's a must see either way. So the analysis here from the site I'm reading, it says, a hot main event that left me with mixed feelings. It was great to see Punk back for the first time since WrestleMania, and Punk winning the championship in Chicago guarantees the best possible crowd reaction. I'm just not a fan of Zayn losing so quick, or that fans are deprived of Punk chasing the champion before beating him. Zayn was a vulnerable champion, meaning most fans would have bought into the possibility that he would lose to a wide variety of challengers. I didn't expect a long title reign, but the company got a whopping one title match out of it. They're obviously trying to get wherever it is they're going for SummerSlam, Punk versus Cody. I wish the timing for the title reign had been different, but I'm still happy that Sami had his moment with the championship. I guess. But you didn't need to have a pit stop of Sami Zayn winning. You didn't need to. If you're going to give Sami Zayn the title reign, I mean, you don't need to tell me, well, it's 9 days or nothing. Because I believe that there would have been another scenario down the road that you could have offered a multi-month championship run for Sami. I don't want to hear that it's, well, 9 days or never. No, I don't believe that. Sami Zayn had a ton of momentum. By far and away, the most interesting character on SmackDown for months. Well, I should say, after the gingerbread bullshit with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams and all that. After that nonsense, he became easily the most interesting guy on the roster. And then they give him 9 days. Again, you didn't need him to have 9 days. And furthermore, what about the brand split? How did Finn Balor get traded to a show that clearly doesn't have any boundaries? There's no trades to be made. And now, presumably, CM Punk's on SmackDown? Well, again, even if we're going to pretend there's some kind of loose brand split, well, the championships aren't drafted. People are. So why would Punk go to SmackDown? If truly there's a brand split, not a bland split, but a brand split. If there truly is, let's pretend in Fantasyland that still exists. And for one night, we had the champion, Sami Zayn, come over from SmackDown. Fine. He came to SmackDown to defend his championship. He lost it. But Punk's drafted to Raw, which means Punk stays on Raw with that championship. When drafts are done, people are drafted. You don't draft championship belts. They're not draftable. They're not living human beings. So where the people go, the championship should go. Not where the championship goes, the people go. But we're all just supposed to ignore that as well. So in no world does this actually make sense. Whether you believe there's a brand split or you don't, this actually makes no sense. It's impossible, but they've threaded the needle where both scenarios don't make sense if they tell us Punk's now on SmackDown. Now, we know why it's on it. You got to have an even split of championships. Both Raw and SmackDown have to have a top guy, a mid-card, a tag team championship, Intercontinental. I get it. One is Intercontinental, one's US. There's got to be a balance. Got it. But you got to have some kind of logic here. Again, that dirty word that no one wants to hear whenever they have to make sense of something they've done. And when you have to make sense of a storyline you have created and you are held accountable to, you're either insulting the audience and assuming they don't care or won't notice that the logic makes no sense, or you just have overthought it or underthought it to where you didn't even realize there was a massive logic hole. So I'm defending the word logic in pro wrestling. It's a word I want to bring back. It's a word that we should use more often. Now, it doesn't mean we need to go down a freaking rabbit hole and pick out every possibility of why this didn't make sense. I'm talking just basic stuff, basic storytelling logic. And oftentimes we don't get that. That's what I'm talking about. And then you'll be labeled somebody that overthinks and you don't even enjoy it. Just don't think about it. You don't complain. No, I invest my time. I invest my money. I invest my life, literally, into pro wrestling, as you do, if you're a fan, you're listening to this, you're invested in pro wrestling. Don't ever let them make you feel dejected or silenced because you don't agree with the product. You're a paying customer. You should tell them when something sucks and when it's good. I try to, and I should practice and preach my own. I should practice what I preach, rather. I agree. But oftentimes I see more bad than good, and logic that makes no sense, and greed over logic, greed over reason. That seems to be the prevailing thought and prevailing strategy of TKO executives. But don't ever feel that you can't speak out or shouldn't. Fuck them. You have your money. You have your time. Very, very valuable assets. Don't make them feel or let them make you feel that you shouldn't or can't talk about something or that they don't pay attention. Yes, they do. If they truly didn't pay attention, they wouldn't even address that they said they don't pay attention. That means that they have, and they don't want to give you any more power to speak against what they're doing. Because if you do, it could catch on and affect them negatively from just the outsider investor view or their own personal ego, whatever the case. Call their asses out when something makes no sense. Praise them when they deserve it too. Because not everything's bad. There's some good stuff going on. Intriguing stuff going on. Returns that are on the horizon. Great matchups that we know are going to be certainly delivered at SummerSlam. Yes. But don't let them get away with bullshit. And don't let them make you feel that they don't listen or pay attention. They do. You don't think with 100+ million subscribers across their multi-platform accounts that they don't pay attention? Of course they do. They have teams dedicated to watching what we say, what's trending, because that's how you take the temperature of your customer base now. You can instantly get feedback on what works and what doesn't. They don't want to hear when something doesn't work, but that's too fucking bad. Too bad. That's the way the market goes. Is there too much complaining today? Probably. Does everybody have a platform now that they can just use to just try to destroy something? Yes. Unfortunately, there is a downside to it. I'm not saying it's all good that we have the power to do this, but we still have the power, and they'll tell you that we don't to try to discourage you from using it, to hold them accountable for shit. Don't let that happen. We're giving them our time and money, and a lot of it. That's why I called them out. Probably also why I don't have any contacts in WWE. I could care less. I will never bullshit anything about how I feel about the company, ever. They need to be held accountable. Their feet need to be right on the coals, the hot coals when things suck. But you know what? When things are really good and they deliver a good product, the wrestling is delivered really well, they should get praised. But I will say when the matches are really good, a lot of times that has nothing to do with the actual booking. The booking just says, here's who should win and how. But the actual match itself is up to the wrestlers. So a lot of the praise at times, you'll notice, go to the wrestlers. So, all right. I just wanted to point that out. I don't know where that rant came from. But you got one nonetheless. So, all right. I'll pause there. I'll conclude. I appreciate everybody listening tonight on this Tuesday, the 7th day of July, 2026. And I'll be back tomorrow with a retro show or a best of. And I'm actually going to be golfing tomorrow. I'll golf a little bit in the afternoon, get some summer golfing in. It's been one of my hobbies I've picked up over the last couple of years. I never thought I'd get into it at all. I've just suddenly fell into it. It just fell into my lap, and I'm like, this thing's fun. And I'd always see it on TV, and I'm just like, oh, this thing's boring. Why would anyone do this? Then you get into it, and you're like, well, it's quiet. It's a nice environment. You can go with people you like or by yourself. You can listen to music, have some drinks on the course. It's just a nice kind of side thing you can do. And I don't know. it fits my age well, I guess. I never thought I'd get into it at all, but here I am. God dang, it can be an expensive sport too. I didn't realize. Between the clubs and the gear, the hats, the balls and tees, and the range finders and the glasses that you can purchase to find your ball better on the course and everything. It's insane. You could spend tens of thousands of dollars on golf stuff, but I get why people do. I totally get it. But I've also found out the hard way that alcohol does not improve my golf game. That's a story for another day. All right, that'll be it for me tonight. I hope everyone enjoys their evening or morning or afternoon. And we'll talk soon. And if you want to go ad free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. Follow us on X, wrestling_audio, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.